Hello and welcome everyone to Darren Moore Live. I am coming to you from Pards, right here live in person, folks. If you are in the market for a brand new pair of Rod Patrick boots or Bob's Custom Saddle, all you need to do is go to pards.com on the World Wide Web. They'll drop ship right to you wherever you may be. Well, thank you folks so much for joining us on another edition. We are so excited today. We have pretty much a legend in the team roping world, ladies and gentlemen. It is a 15-time AQHA world champion. He is a BFI champion. Folks, he has one of the hottest growing associations in the country today. Jay Wadhams, we're excited about that. Now, also, I want to let you know, if you've been following us on our Refine Your Rating, Run for a Million. Hey, coming up now, the second show in their buckle series, that is now underway for you raiders out there. Also, I want to let all of our ranch riders know that their second show in their buckle series is already underway. Now, what's really awesome, and thank you so much, last time we had our results, folks, in the non-pro, we had 4 separate countries represented for the top 5 placings. So, man, a big shout out to all of you folks. This is really going all over the world. We are so excited. Well, folks, if I could please just ask you, for those of you that are new to the show, we would ask that you go to Facebook and look up Darren Moore Announcing and like our page, please. Folks, we've got a new segment that we're going to be releasing called Learn More with Darren Moore. Pretty catchy, huh? Well, I thought so anyway. But again, folks, now that's going to have some little 10-minute segments. It's going to have a lot of great knowledge. We're going to be having a lot of folks from veterinarians to tack to bits to boots. We're going to have everything in the country. Well, folks, right now, as we take a quick look at one of our great sponsors.
Your relationship with your horse is a reflection of who you are. From your daily grooming ritual to preparing for the big show, Farnham is your partner from head to hoof, inside and out. We've been making premium products to enhance your connection and improve the life of your horse for 70 years. And you can count on us for at least another 70 more.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much to our good friends at Farnham, your partner in horse care. Well, folks, I would like to bring on screen right now a good friend of the show, Jay Wadhams.
How you doing?
Hey, amigo, I'm great, buddy. How are you doing, man, up there? Have you stayed busy? You got a lot of horses you're riding right now?
Well, I don't really have any training horses myself. I've just kind of always been that hired jockey to come in and show horses. So, that's allowed me to do what I'm doing with the rope horse fraternities.
Hey, we're going to get into that, Jay. I'm very excited about that because there's just so much information that we want to pass along to everybody. But, before we do, Jay, tell us a little bit about, how old were you when you started roping? Our producers have, I'm telling you, they have worked so hard, and I believe they got a picture of your first rope horse. Do we have that, Doug?
Oh, yeah. There we go.
Man, I tell you what. Man, what a horse that was, dude. Now, did you head on that horse, or did you start heeling on that horse?
Well, I kind of knew that Doug might come up with something like that, So anyways, it's all good. We'll get even with him someday, Darren, me and you.
Oh, believe you, buddy, it's going to be a long time. We're going to get him. Hey, seriously though, buddy, I want to talk to you like, buddy, you've been around, you've roped, you've been to the Wrangler National Finals, the BFI, you won that in 2010, and you were 45.62 or 45.92 on 6. Now this year, J.R. Deeds and Lane Siggins, they were 44.62. So we're talking about 1.3 second. What do you think? I mean, there's not much difference. I mean, from when you were there to now, what about, is there anything you say about that you think attributes that to again, 19-foot box, 18-foot score? Tell us a little bit about your thoughts on that.
Well, I think the BFI is just such a old school rope, and that long score, and it just it don't allow those guys to reach as far as they do now, and it's just the whole roping industry has just changed. It's phenomenal. I was in Ardmore, Oklahoma the other day and watched the World Series Open, and my goodness, those top ropers they're just phenomenal. They are so good at what they do, and it's everything you do. It's tennis, basketball, baseball. I mean, people just work hard to get better all the time with what we got now, with all the technology, with the ropes and the schools that are going on. I mean, everybody strives to get better, so you always want to be better than the next person.
Well, that's a great what you said right there, and that's the big reason we're here, folks. You just heard Jay talk about the quality of horses, and I got to think, Jay, and I think you can probably agree that over the several past years, our quality of horses, or our training, the breeding has gotten better, and that is where the futurity that you have started, I think, is just amazing, because we are now getting to see the quality of horses that are out there. So, I mean, tell us a little bit about, I know you're really big with the Rein Cow Horse. I know we have the World Show there at the Snaffle Bit Fraternity, and all of our Rein Cow Horse guys. How did you come up with the Rope Horse Fraternity Association? And kind of give us a little bit of background on that, if you would, buddy.
Well, when we first started all this, there was me and Clay Logan and Robert Gifford, and we seen the need to have some more money events other than just the World Show that we all go to, and it was a group of us sitting around drinking beer, talking about what we could do, and me and Clay and Robert took on the task of seeing what we could do with it. And, we started it, and, we didn't have a lot of success just because we didn't have enough money added there at the first couple. And Clay and Robert wanted to step out. Well, and me and Lindsay took on the task of going on. We changed the name of it to the American Rope Horse. It used to be the National Rope Horse Fraternity Association. And we changed it and went on, and we bounced around to a few different places and tried to have it, but it was always, all my friends and stuff, they all came for us, but it just never had the money to keep it going. And, it just, we finally, we went to Nebraska finally and was having it on a very small scale. And Dean Tufton, he got us in with NRCHA, and I heard he did a Rope Horse Fraternity, which he's a huge sponsor of the NRCHA. And I called him, and I had JD talk to him also, and I said, "Hey, what's Dean thinking?" And we talked, and I asked Dean, I said, "Well, who's going to run this for you?" And he said, "Well, I don't know. You want to?" And I said, "Yes." And he was surprised that I wanted to do it, because I was still very much involved in showing horses and still roping at the rodeos a little bit, and all that. But I seen a chance here to try to do something good for the industry, and we just jumped on it. And if it hadn't been for Dean, we wouldn't be where we are now.
Well, Dean Tufton, he's a great guy. He's done so much for the team roping world, and again, like you said, for the NRCHA, he's one of our great sponsors there. Folks, real quick, before we move on, I do want to let you know that if you will send a question in and just type it in on the comments, plus if you would also put your name and where you're joining us from, where you're watching from. Now, at the end of the show, we're going to have 4 lucky winners. Our producers are going to pick out 4 questions at random. We're going to read them right here online with us. You can ask Jay whatever you want. He'll answer it for you. Now, all of you are going to win a great prize courtesy of our sponsors. So, folks, throughout the show here, if you would just go to the comment section, type in your question, and we're going to do that a little bit later on in the show. Well, Jay, as we talk about Dean and how you got started, what is the draw you think with our ring cow horse guys and the growth that we've had there? What do you think has brought that together?
Well, first off, I mean, it's the money. The money's brought everybody together, and then with the time deal that we have in our formula that we do, it's drawn the rodeo guys with the money. The cow horse guys do such a phenomenal job of training these horses, and there's 300 plus horses in the Snaffle Bit fraternity, but there's very few of them horses that go on after that, and a lot of guys buy these horses because after the cow horse guys get done with them, they're broke. They're ready to go. You can just go right to roping on them. It's very easy to follow those guys. They're just such great horsemen, and it just makes it easy.
Well, Jay, I agree with you, buddy. It's such a great crossover there, and we've got a lot of your fraternity. As we talk about, it simply exploded last year at your World Finals, and we'll talk about that here in just a little bit more. But, I want to ask you also, Jay, the money, talk to us a little bit about the payout and what we can, what people out there watching, if they want to get involved, talk to us a little bit about that and how that kind of came about.
Well, when it all come about, Dean told me that he for sure wanted the fraternity to pay at least $20,000. Well, and I loved it too. The problem I was having, I don't like anything top loaded, meaning I don't want something to pay $20,000 and then the next place pay $10,000. I don't think that one steer over the day should cost you that much money. So I wanted to keep it pretty tight. So our fraternity always pays $20,000, $18,000, $16,000. We try to keep it pretty tight down through there. And we're getting all the great ropers now, and we're getting all the great horse trainers. And the one thing that I see with the growth of what we're doing is I want to someday I want my limited guys to be able to win the $20,000, the $18,000, the $16,000, just like the fraternity pays. But I also want that 4-year-old deal to fill in and do the same. I think that's where our growth is, and that's what I'm striving for. Until I get those other two sides of it, the fraternity is just going to keep paying right there where it's at. When I get it all filled in like I want, I will feel like me and Lindsay have a job.
I agree, everybody. That's a good point right there, buddy. As this thing is growing, and we've got some new dates, and we've got some things happening. Also X Factor, I believe, is also involved to some degree. Is that right, Jay?
Yes, they're going to start doing all of our live streaming at all the events that we put on now. Next year they'll be in Scottsdale with us. They will be in Tulsa, and we go to Tulsa now. We'll probably touch on their Fort Worth.
Right, exactly. Well, and folks, again, be sure to check out X Factor. They're going to be bringing all of those shows for you online. Well, Jay, tell us just a little bit about what's your goal with the rope horse fraternity? Tell us. We want to try to help grow this, because I tell you what, I couldn't believe the amount of money that you had given away this year. So, where do you see this going? if you can, I mean, I know it's hard, but just kind of give us an idea.
Well, I mean, well, due to what all's happened this year with the coronavirus and everything, I had told Lindsay, I said, I'm pretty sure we're going to go over 500,000 this year because I had a bunch of new sponsors wanting to come on, and I know my numbers are going to stay the same or get better. Hopefully, I can get it all put together, and I would love to go over the 500,000 mark this year. I mean, the first year in 2017, we paid out 230 some thousand at our very first one at Fort Worth. Me and Lindsay doing this for 15, 16 years now, but it never escalated until 3 years at the Snaffle bit. But I feel pretty certain that last year we said we would add 100,000. We wound up putting in $135,000 last year. I don't think this thing will grow unless we just keep putting money into it, and then we will get more people coming, and that's my goal, is to build something huge.
Well, folks, right now, as we take a quick look at one of our great sponsors, Wrangler, we're going to be back with Jay with more questions.
Oh, your mom is texting me like crazy because she can't freaking figure it out. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. I Kenzie text her.
Get ready for another day out west. We didn't choose this life. We were born for it.
Well, again, a big thank you to Wrangler, folks, as we come back with Jay Wadhams here on the American Rope Horse Futurity Association. Now, again, folks, I do encourage you, please go to the comments section, type in a question. Again, later on here in the show, we're going to have a question and answer, and if we read your question, you are going to win a great prize. Well, Jay, as we move on here, tell us about the classes. Tell us what it is. How, if I've got a horse out there, tell me how I can get involved with the American Rope Horse Futurity Association.
Well, right now, just like if you had a horse, Darren, you could just enter a 4, 5, or a 6-year-old, and you would be eligible for the lead rider at Fort Worth is a 6 and under header and a 7 and plus and under heeler. And I had to put something in there where some of these guys, it's a tough rope, and when you come there and got a rope against Trey Yates, Joseph Harrison, and them, I totally understand. Those guys are so hard to get around. Billy Jack Savins, Ryan Moats, plus all the other guys that broke great. Them are just names that stick out because they're all NFR guys. Paul Eves is there. I mean, it's tough, but I do believe that the system works. I had this last year, we had a kid, Dakota Wing. He was riding a nice little 4-year-old. And he come there, and he's a 5+ heeler, and he just made 4 good runs on a nice horse, and he placed in the futurity. He placed in the 4-year-old incentive, and he also won the limited part of it. I think he won like close to 20,000. And so the system does work. You just got to come there and rope your roping and see what happens.
Well, and Jay, as for the ropers, listen. So and here's what as a concern, I think for some, I'm a 5 header, right, or a 5 heeler,
right?
And I know I've got a nice little 5-year-old horse, and I think so. Okay, you feel like I could compete, and I could win there, and I could be successful at the American Rope Horse Futurity Association ropings, because I feel like we have a lot of those guys. We have a lot of girls that that come, and a lot of ladies that are really good. I think that 5, 4, the 5 to 6. There's a lot of 5s, 5 elites, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think
Right.
sometimes they kind of feel like they don't. But with the system that you have come up with, and it is a scoring and a time system. Now, folks, I know that sounds complicated, but it's really not. Now, what we're going to do in our Learn More with Darren Moore segment, we're going to have Jay back on. We're going to have Gary Wells. We're going to have some of our NFR team ropers. And we're going to go into detail because we want you to understand that it's really not difficult how the scoring works and how you move on. As a regular team roper, we go and it's all on time, right? We go and it's a 4-header, whatever, you make the short round. We all know how that works. But I want you all that are listening to follow us. Please go to Darren Moore Announcing, like our Facebook page. And when Jay comes back on, we're going to have some judges. We're going to have the actual people that you're going to be, roping to. And we're going to explain that system to you. Now, Jay, I don't want to go into detail on that because we're going to have some videos later on in the show,
Right.
later on what we're doing. But let me ask you this. So how do I get involved? I got a horse. Where do I go to find the American Rope Horse Futurity Association events? And I want to get involved because I think I got a really nice horse.
Mm-hmm. You go to ropehorsefuturity.com. You just go there and check when our events are. You don't right now. I don't require anybody to be a member of our association because when we get to Fort Worth, I make everybody be a member of the NRCHA. I make them all buy a card before we go there, and I just don't think that right now it's right to make everybody buy 2 different cards. Maybe someday we'll get there. I've got 3 already. And just go there and just find out where our events are and check when the entries close. Right now, the way it's all set up, the entries close on site just because of all this. We've had to move everything around and everything, so it's a little bit different.
Well, again, folks, as Jay just told you, and we're going to have that link too on Darren Moore Announcing's Facebook page too. You'll be able to find that. You can go get entered. If you have any questions, also, folks, I encourage you to ask. Just find out what you need to know. Now, Jay, so we talked about Saddle Bit Futurity. Well, talk to us about what's coming up, and we've had nobody ever thought we would ever be living in a world that we are, right? And a lot of different associations have eliminated their qualification periods, which we don't for the futurity. But do you have some dates that we can show the folks out there, wherever they are, that they can get involved with the futurity?
Yes, well, as of today, they canceled us in Lincoln, Nebraska, as everybody probably knows. But we finally found a place to have it. We're going to have this show that was supposed to be in Lincoln, Nebraska, in Tulsa, Oklahoma, also on the 19th and 20th of June. That's when it was scheduled in Nebraska. The good part about having this, the 19th and 20th of June, is also the BFI. I talked to Darren Peterson today. It's going to be on the 21st on Sunday. So you can come over there and watch a lot of good roping at my Rope Horse Futurity on the 19th and 20th. Go right over there to the Lazy E in Guthrie, Oklahoma, and watch the guys roping the BFI. And then they'll have the rest of the ropings that week that were scheduled in Reno. You can get on that bfiweek.com, and it'll give you a whole list of how everything's going to go. So I'm pretty excited. I tried to move it to a couple of different places, but it sounds like a few rodeos are going to kick off for those guys, and I didn't want to interfere with that. So I just kept the same dates. Everybody had just blocked them out. So we're going to roll right on with it in Tulsa the 19th and 20th. And then we'll go right to the Oil Can in Tulsa on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th of July. And then our dates in October will be with the Snaffle Bit. I haven't got the for sure it'll be the 22nd through the 24th, I think. I'm guessing on that, depends on the scheduling from NRCHA, but that's tentative right now. So,
Well, that is, I'm so happy, Jay, that we are getting dates as we look here, folks, of the up and coming shows. You just heard Jay talk about the June 19th and 20th. Now, that again was the Lincoln. It is now moved to Tulsa, the Oil Can Classic. That's where that is going to be. So for everybody in the Midwest, that's where it's going to be a great spot. And we're going to be right back there. Now, due to the COVID-19, folks, that's why there's two of them back to back in Tulsa. We just can't help it. Now, next year, Jay has said that it's will move back up into Lincoln. And then there again, the World Championships, folks, is going to be during the NRCHA Snaffle Bit Futurity in Fort Worth, Texas. What a huge show. Jay, I'm looking, and I got a question for you. It seems to be, as you and I know, up in the northwest part of the country, there's a lot of ropers up there. Again, a lot of our cow horse guys, girls that are up there. Are you thinking about or trying or would like to, have, I don't know, maybe Utah, Nevada, something up there? Do you have anything in the works, or if somebody is watching and wanted to do this, could we have another one up in the Northwest?
I'd love to have one up in the Northwest, or even up in the South Dakota, North Dakota area. The problem is having some more Texas, Oklahoma. I've all my sponsors, they've been so good to me, and they're really good with what I got going on. But if I keep going back to the well, you know what's going to happen, and I don't blame them. So I just want to keep them small, keep them going. But I would love to reach out to some different areas and try to put some events on, get some sponsor money, and then hopefully that would entice some people to come to Fort Worth and to the big one, to the World Championship. And I just think it would make it all bigger. I think if we did some events up there, there would be a lot of people that go to horse sales and stuff. And what's happening now, you can see at some of these sale catalogs, it says that, this horse has won this much money at the Rope Horse Futurity here or there. And, that's just helping everything. It's becoming everything about money won. So the more of these we can have in different areas, I think would really help.
Put it in the comments. Okay, you're back.
Well, folks, again, we're going to keep you up to the date on the entries, where to go to get entered, when they are. They'll be in the comment section, so follow along. Well, folks, right now we're going to take a quick look at another one of our great sponsors, Classic Equine. Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Darren Moore Live. Again, we have 15-time AQHA World Champion Jay Wadhams. Well, Joe, it is time to get to the question and answer. That's right, folks, for those of you out there. Thank you again for all of you who submitted questions. Again, our producers, Doug and Sam, they are working hard. They're going to pull us up a question. Hey, Dougie, I tell you what, buddy, why don't you bring up our first question? This is from everyone. Who really works harder on these events, you or your wife?
Man, I tell everybody, I do all the talking. My wife does all the work, and anybody that knows me will probably know that is 100% true. So, it's got to be Lindsay. She spends countless hours for Fort Worth trying to get that program with all the sires and the dams on these horses and put it in our program for us. And we have a really nice program, and people really do enjoy sitting in the stands and looking at the breeding on those horses and everything. We can't do it for our other events because we just don't have the time. But at Fort Worth, we try to do as nice an event as we can. And that's all due to Lindsay. Like I say, I do all the talking. She does all the work.
Well, we agree with you 100%. I got to tell you, Jay, you have never made a more truer statement in your life than that. All right, so let's move on, folks. Again, hey, for all real quick, for breeders out there, and you want to get involved with the rope horse tournament, you can do that as well. I mean, all you stallion owners and mare owners, we would love to have you become, from the cow horse or the cutting, reining into the team roping. Well, Doug, let's go to our actual first question. Sandy Albright. Sandy, how do you qualify to rope as a non-pro or amateur for your shows? Jake?
Well, we've did some changing. At first we come with you had to be a fuss and under, or you could have an AQHA. Well, there's some AQHA amateurs that are very salty, that really rope good. So, I fought for them for a while because some of those guys are bringing horses to my events, and I had to change it. And it's just I didn't want to, but I did. But now, if you're just a fuss and under, you can come to events and rope as a non. I just figured that was the fairest way as I could do it and start getting some.
Well, you know what, Jay? I mean, that's great. And hey, for all of you non-pros and you amateurs out there, we have a place for you at the American Rope Horse Fraternity Association. Please do not worry. Well, folks, Sandy Albright, you are going to win a pair of Wrangler jeans. Long live cowboys, long live cowgirls. All right, again, Sandy, be sure to send us a message on where to send that to you, please. Get us your information. Well, Mr. Doug, our producer working hard, let's go to Miles Williams. What opportunities are there, or a non-pro guy that likes to rope at your events? Like Doug Hammock, which really not even non-pro, is not even in his category. He's non a lot of things.
Well, since all this COVID started, Lindsay's put together me a money one from guys, and I can look at this and I can tell that we need to change some things. I need to get some guys winning some more money, so that my limited deal is better. We also have a group of guys that work for the JD Yates and the Clay Logans and the Brad Lunds, and sometimes their customers just want their trainers to ride the horses, and maybe not the guys that work for them, even though those guys that work for them rope really good. But I've kind of looked at it as they need a chance. So I'm going to open up if you're qualified for the limited. And right now it's just a Jay said type of a deal, but I'm going to change that after Fort Worth this year. I'm going to get me 4 or 5 guys and sit there, and I'm going to look at it. There's some 8s and 9s that are going, but show something. So not at Fort Worth, but at these other shows, they're going to be able to ride any age horse. So like some of these aged out become help horses, or the non-pro wants to take them. Well, they're still customers. They will probably let some of these guys as helpers show them at these shows, and we need to get them winning some money, and get them enticed. One day they're going to go out on their own, just like you have a Dustin Rogers that worked for JD for 6 years. You got a Cade Rice that worked for Clay Logan for 6 years. There's a Cade Pino that has worked for Clay Logan. Now he's with Les Oswalt. Sometimes these guys don't get a chance, and they put a lot of work in, and I feel like they need a chance to try to win some money. So if they can show up on an aged horse and beat these guys, well, hey, kudos to them. you go there and if you beat Joseph and Trey and Billy Jack and these guys on it, you can feel like you've done something, and that just entices these kids to do better.
Well, that's sure you beat those names right there, folks. I tell you what, you have done something. Well, congratulations. Our winner is going to be a classic ball cap and T-shirt. Again, a big thank you going out to our good friends at Classic. Well, Jay, you know, buddy, we talk about everybody working hard, and buddy, you work hard. I mean, I've known you for a long time. You put all of your effort and everything that you do into this. As we go to our next question.
BJ Allen.
Yes.
BJ Avila actually has a job.
Well, BJ, I guess, you know, I've always been known as the hired gun around. You know, I've never had to train any horses. You know, everybody knows me and JD wasn't. He's always did the training. When Clay Logan come on the scene, started showing horses, Brad Lund, Steve Orth, Luke Jones, all these guys that have just had me either Kurt Pillman just fly in with my rope bag for years and get on and help them. They'd usually show them in the heading, and I'd show the horses in the heeling, and it just worked for me, you know. And I've always said that it doesn't matter how good a horse you put me on. If I can't catch on him, it's still a zero. So I've always been to work on my roping, and JD and Clay and these guys they've been the ones that trained the horses and got me to where I am today. So I still feel like I can get on a really good horse of anybody's, whether it be Joseph Harrison or anybody. And if I don't have to rope very many, I think I could still be a contender at these shows. But now I can't rope at them. It kind of speaks for itself. Why? Just because I hire the judges and everything, so I don't think that'd look very good.
Well, again, folks, thank you so much. We're going to go to our next and final question that we have here on our question and answer with Jay Wadhams. Kinsey Meyer. Kinsey Meyer. All right, Kinsey, what is your advice for doing well at an American Rope Horse Fraternity event? And what should I really focus on? Kinsey, great question.
Well, Kinsey, if you come there, if you come to an ARHA FA event, I tell you what, don't mess around. Hire one of the best ropers there is to help you. Because if you go there and you don't have one of these great ropers help you, and I mean, I don't know what they're doing now or what, but it's worth it. You know, if you can go there and you do your job, if you get a chance to do your job and you're riding a good horse, you're going to win some money. And the next time you go back, if you take care of those guys, they're going to be more than willing to help you. So I've always said, you know, when you go to this event, you've got to have one of those guys that ropes for a living. The setups are pretty tough. You know, I have to separate these horses somehow so the scores are longer, the steers are stronger, and you have to have a quarterback on your team, which entails one of these guys that ropes for a living or has roped for a living helping you.
Well, great question, Kinsey Meyer. Thank you. You are going to win a Resistol hat. Again, thank you to Resistol, the best all around. Kinsey, be sure to send us your information in the comment section. Well, folks, we're going to go to our final question and our answer here with Jay Wadhams, BFI champion. County Krieger, are calf roping fraternity horses eligible? They're 4 through 6 years of age. Are they eligible every year or just once and then they move on to the maturity? Great question, County Krieger.
No, those horses, as long as they're 4, 5, or 6 years of age, either in the calf roping or in the team roping, they are qualified for the fraternity. When they turn 7, they have to go on to the maturity, which, you know, we've put the maturity in the team roping too and the calf roping. Had to do it. Had a lot of horses aging out, and these trainers all were like, we need something to do with them. So we throwed this out there, you know, the maturity, and we're going to see how it works. And if it works good, we'll keep going with it. If it lags a little bit, we might take a year or two off and then try to come back with it and see what happens.
Hey, Darren, we're getting a bunch of questions about the scoring. Just do a quick recap of how the scoring works.
Again, all right. Well, Callie Krieger, thank you so much for that great question. You are going to win a Farnham Fly Pack. Again, congratulations. Now, folks, Jay, just to give you a heads up, we are having a bunch of folks that are wanting to know about the scoring system. And I tell you, folks, I promise you, we will have something out next week. Again, you come back to our Darren Moore announcing page. Jay, there's still some that, can you just give us a quick overview and then we'll get into more detail, but give us about how the scoring works and the time. We've got a lot of people wanting to know that.
With the scoring, like in the head, and we have the box and the barrier, we have the run and the rate, and we have the ling and the facing of the steer of the horse, and you go from 0 to a +5 or 0 to a -5, which is determined by the judge. I mean, however that horse does that entity of our scoring system is how he gets scored. And you take the time off of 80. So if you're 5 flat, you get a 75 added to your scores. When you first start, you start with a 70. So you go to the box and barrier, and if your horse is really good in there, they can plus a 3, and you go to a 73, and then you get to the run and the rate part of it. And if the horse doesn't do that very well, he might get a 0 or a -2, just depending on how the horse works and what the judges are seeing. And it seems to work out. I have a lot of guys that one guy sticks out. Hate to pick on anybody, but Dan Myers from Utah, he come there on a really nice mare and was doing really sturdy, and just being new to all this. He come to the fraternity once. It's a learning process. Dan was doing really good, and then he drew a really good steer, and he reached, and he missed. And I said, Dan, why did you do that? He said, well, I was trying to make up time. And I said, the one thing you've got to think about is it's not all about the time. It's how pretty you can make that horse look in front of those two guys judging. So if you make him look pretty running up there and doing his job correctly, you're going to gain 2 to 3 points more from the judges than you are just knocking off 1 second off the time.
That's a great question. I mean, so folks, again, what he's saying is so explain your judging score from your team rope and run score, like most of our team ropers. How do those two connect?
Well,
the time and the
when we get to Fort Worth, it really changes. That time really come to effect. I could when it's over and look at the score of the horses, and the really good horses rise to the top on the judges' score sheets. Most of the time you get to that part of it, it comes down to the time and who draws a good steer and who makes a good run. Obviously, those horses that come back in the top 10 positions for the short round, man, they're really good horses, because if they weren't, they'd be there. So the time really plays into how it comes. But at other times, if you just go out there and make it look really pretty, it works too, But when you got everybody around and all them good ropers, you got to go ahead and max yourself out on your horse and ask him for everything. And you got to max yourself out too for the time.
So Jay, let me ask you this. So we have 2 judges' scores, right? 2 judges. Mm-hmm. And then we have your team rope and run time. Mm-hmm. So where does explain to our listeners where your score comes out of that? How does the 2 judges and the time, how do they work to get a score for my horse?
Well, you add the 2 judges' scores together, and then you take your time off of 80. So say your two judges come up, one comes up with a 75 and the other one comes up with a 73, and then say you're six flat. Then you take your time off of 80, you would get a 76. That entails us not to have any ties usually. So, that would come up to a 224, which is a really good run. But, you just got to add it all together and your cumulative score. So if you rope a leg, then that's like a 5-second penalty, for the time part of it. The judge don't really dock you for roping a leg because you've already gotten docked because of your time. And that was kind of the scenario, for the longest time. Guys would come to the horse shows, the AQHA shows, and there would be if I roped a leg and they roped 2 feet, they couldn't figure out how to beat them, and that's why we tried to formulate this time to make that work and be a little more logical to everybody.
Well, Jay, just real quick as we wrap up here, I just also want a lot of you out there to know that the rope horse futurity judging part is different than what if you have been to AQHA shows. Okay, there's a certain way that AQHA judges judge their horses. And the rope horse futurity is more of today's roping. About how a horse will get across the panty stout to the horn, how he faces. Jay, I think this is important for the ropers out there to know that it's a different judged system, that the horses that they ride now are what we're looking for and not something that just runs up there right in the hole and drags his butt and then just shoots out. So I mean, don't you think so? Is that did I say that right?
So here's what's happened. If you go back to some of the old tapes in AQHA, those big steers and those horses worked more like the horses do today. We got into an era there with AQHA just because of what those great horsemen did, the Benny Catrone, the Bob Avila, and all those guys like that, Don Murphy. Me and JD used to go, and we spent hours with those guys learning how to make those horses slide and do that. And in our defense, Robbie Schroeder, all these guys, it was new and it was fancy and it would win. So that's what we did. A lot of guys don't understand how those horses did that, and they don't think it's right. And, to a point, if you heel behind a lot of those steers, it is tough. In today's world, you still want a horse up there and get on his ass, but you do not want him sliding, stopping the steers and shooting out of there. And it's all changed, and it was just due to all the great horse trainers that, it was new and it was fancy and his win. So you're going to do whatever it takes to win. And I'm trying to change it back to more like the modern day of what is going on now.
Well, Jan, you said that perfect, buddy, because the American Rope Horse Futurity Association, folks, is today's team roping and what we see everywhere we go, whether it's a U.S. Roping, a World Series, or whatever. And I encourage you folks to get involved. Jay and Lindsay are great folks. We would love to have you get involved and learn more. Make sure to go to ropehorsefuturity.com. If you got any questions, folks, it is about today. And Jay, buddy, I can't say thank you enough. I'm excited about our Learn More with Darren Moore, our 10 minutes. Now, again, folks, we're going to get into more detail on the scoring and the time. So just be sure to go to Darren Moore Announcing's Facebook page, like us, and then you'll be able to keep up with that. Jay, thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate you for coming on, and I can't wait to see you again, brother.
Hey, I want to thank you and Doug for having us on here, and I'm looking forward to getting this scoring deal out there. I know there's a lot of misconception about the scoring, and we are going to have some good stuff on there with Gary and some other guys, and get some more information out there to everybody. What we're looking for. Thanks again.
Well, again, everybody, thank you, Jay Wadhams. Folks, thank you so much for all of you that have joined us here. We we hope you got a lot of great information. Please keep up with us. Again, a big thank you going out to our sponsors of Darren Moore Live. A big thank you to Classic Equine, Resistol, Farnham, and Wrangler. Thank you, folks, so much. Again, keep following us. Folks, have a great week, and God bless. Stay sane and stay safe. Adios.
Stopping the stream.